Welcome back to a little kart 1998 season in Automobilista 2. After two very exciting oval races, we are back to road racing for now, but it wouldn't be kart if we wouldn't be hit with another very unique experience. Today we're here at the Grand Prix of Cleveland, which will take place on the Cleveland Burke Lakefront Airport at a very unusual track that is super wide and offers plenty of overtaking opportunities. Though, seeing as we are on an airfield, there isn't many reference points for braking, so prepare for many lockups, especially into the turn 1 hairpin. Remarkably, we had 3 different winners in the first 3 races, however, neither of them is leading the championship. Instead, solid high finisher Dario Franchitti sits on top of the standings. We, however, will be going into this race as a veteran Bobby Rahal, who was born in Medina, Ohio, just a few miles away from Cleveland, so let's see if we can bring home a good result for the local hero. But first, let's take a quick look at the starting grid for today. Greg Moore starts from pole position, and alongside him in row 1 is Alex Zanardi. Then we have Patrick Carpentier, strong qualifying for the Team Forsyth driver. Then we have Michael Andretti, Gilles de Ferran, Brian Hurter, Jimmy Vasser, Scott Pruitt, championship leader Dario Franchitti in 9th, Christian Fittipaldi from P10, Mauricio Gugelmin, Bobby Rahal ourselves starting from P12, Al Unser Jr., Michel Jourdain, Andre Ribeiro, Adrian Fernandez, Tony Kanaan, Paul Tracy, Richie Hearn, PJ Jones, Robbie Gordon, Max Papis, Mark Blondell, Ant Meyer, and 25th and last is Alex Barron. And here we're just coming around the final corner towards the Cleveland skyline there on our left hand side. And the race is now green flagged and underway. Dario Franchitti alongside us going into that very tight turn 1. We tried the outside line. Luckily this track now is very, very broad, as I've said before. So no issues into turn 1. Not that that is usual, because despite the track being so broad, it is really inviting to go for a move, and it gets a bit hard to keep an overview of who is where. But luckily for us, everything went alright, and we're just behind Franchitti right now. Very bumpy part of the track here. You can even see it on the asphalt, or the well, what even is this? Concrete, rather, on that we're driving on, that it is really bumpy. Into the final corner against Franchitti. We leave him space there on the left-hand side, so we stay behind the championship leader. Moore still in the race lead ahead of Zanardi, Carpentier, Andretti, de Ferran, and Hurter, so no dramatic changes here in the top 6. 50 laps will be the race length, and you can see we are up to P10, so taking the outside line into turn 1 was really working well in lap 1 there. Oh, almost running a little wide here. The track really seems simple, but it is not that simple. I mean, you still have to find your lines and to keep the maximum pace, which is not the easiest thing to do. As we jump a little forward in time, because there wasn't much going on, as we just have Christian Fittipaldi behind us. In the meantime, Franchitti made it past Scott Pruitt, so now Pruitt is the car ahead of us in P9. Whoop, running a little deep there. But getting it done still on the second part of this chicane here. Now we have the same type of corner in reverse. And oh, we get a good exit out of there. We are side by side with Scott Pruitt. Oh, and we ran him a little out of road, but we were ahead and had the racing line. I don't know why he held on to it, because at that rate we were going through there, we weren't able to leave him space. So yeah, pretty hard racing, maybe a little over the edge, but I think still fine, because we had the racing line and we were ahead. Now into turn 1. Fittipaldi also made it past Pruitt. You can see it in our mirrors. And let's see if we can keep up with Dario Franchitti. Of course, that has cost us a little time, so there is a couple of car lengths that we have to make up again. Oh, that is Carpentier now, that leading car in that group ahead of us. So he is really falling down the order and holding everyone up. There is a Chip Ganassi car in there as well. Oof. Running a little close to the wall. And that instantly was punished by Christian Fittipaldi moving past ourselves. Let's see if we can pull off a counter-attack now. Oh, behind us, this is El Anza Jr. Where has he come from? Now, late into turn 1. Oof, a little too late into turn 1. Making contact with Dario Franchitti. Not heavy contact, but a bit of wheel banging there. Luckily he saw us and opened the door a bit. And we move past the Team Cool green car. And let's see if we can calm down a little bit, because there was a lot of stuff going on the last couple of laps. Not really the cleanest racing. I think this is also kind of a risk of that track, that because you can overtake everywhere, you're getting a little too ambitious, running wide a little bit there, missing the apex. So Dario Franchitti moves past, but now we have the slipstream. We try to use the outside line into that final chicane. Oh, that didn't work. We have to take through the grass and lose not only to Dario Franchitti, but also Anza Jr. and Scott Pruitt. And here they are, battling quite heavily. Christian Fittipaldi is also in there. He made it past us as well. Now into turn 1 against El Anza Jr. This time we don't make contact with anyone and just finally cleanly pass another car. So if we can continue like that, that would be good. Because I don't think our car can take too many bangs more. Lap 10 now, and this is how we're running right now. More ahead of Zanardi and Andretti. These are the top 3. They're kind of grouped together, and then you can already see this group that we are a part of here, as we're running in P11. They are quite behind a little bit. So let's see if we can finally move past them. But you know, of course, racing side by side here is pretty easy, but actually keeping a position is pretty hard. So as soon... Oh, wow, Scott Pruitt runs right there as we stick up our inside there, but wasn't too clean. And now against Christian Fittipaldi once again. Same spot as with Pruitt. This time we'll leave the space, or we manage to leave the space as we don't overshoot that corner. And Fittipaldi stays ahead. And let's try it once again. Carpentier now really moving down the order. He's now the next car ahead of Fittipaldi, but for now we have to make it past the Newman Haas car with the number 11. Whoop. Once again, does it work this time? No. Fittipaldi bravely hangs on around the outside, which is really brave, as you could have seen with Scott Pruitt, who ran wide there twice, which, well, was kind of our fault as well. Or we were part of him running wide. Let's put it like that. But wow, there is now Jimmy Vasser is now ahead of this group, and he is not that fast. He finished second, just second, last time out at Gateway, just behind his teammate Alex Zanardi, as whom we were driving there. But that's all in the past. Let's focus on the job ahead. And that job still is overtaking Christian Fittipaldi. 3 times a charm, maybe? Oh, we're still side by side, but nah, it's just not possible. He is driving his best here. And now, this time at another spot. This is looking promising. A good exit out of the final chicane. Maybe this time. Maybe 4 times a charm. No, it's not. He's late on the brakes and keeps the position. Now, he is rather attacking Patrick Carpentier ahead of us. Now, can we maybe take advantage from that situation? Not really. Fittipaldi really keeping in mind that he's not just attacking but also defending from ourselves. He is really showing some very good racecraft, the Brazilian here. But now, for the 4th time, we go side by side into this right-hander here. And once again, he holds on to it. I'm not surprised at this point anymore. We need to do it at another spot because Fittipaldi is just so brave here around the outside. There seems to be a lot more grip. He has then the better exit and then he always keeps ahead. But where could we try it? Maybe turn 1? Well, not if we're that far away. And we continue looking at that rear wing of that Newman Haas car. But I think his tires have given in now, so he had to back off and lost a lot of time to the cars ahead. You can only make out Carpentier there in the distance with that light blue car. But still, we need to find a way past. He is really defending very well, Christian Fittipaldi. But this might be our chance. The slipstream towards the final corner. Always a bit of a risky spot to make a move. But we managed to wrestle past Fittipaldi finally. And we move up that 1 spot. And let's look at what is going on at the front. Greg Moore in that light blue car with the number 99 is still leading that race, and they're just about to lap Michel Jourdain in that green Herdes car. Behind him, these are Andretti and Gilles de Ferran. So now this is kind of a critical situation for a race leader. He makes it past Jourdain into turn 1. And now that has given de Ferran the opportunity to attack Michael Andretti. 3 wide, they're going towards turn 2, but Andretti holds on to it and stays in 2nd, just behind Greg Moore. Well, and Moore's teammate, Patrick Carpentier, is just ahead of us. Let's see if we can find a way past him. Let's try the same thing we have tried with Christian Fittipaldi, where it worked. Towards the final chicane we go. Oh, but we're a little too early on the brakes, so Carpentier stays ahead. Maybe into turn 1, this might be our chance. This time we don't have to fear to running in the back of anyone, as there is quite a gap ahead of Carpentier. We move past. Now let's see, is he trying something towards that right-hander here? Yes, he is. He's still on our insides. We leave him the space, but now we finally move past. And then the next car is Dario Franchitti once again. We were just behind him after the start, so he moved up a couple of spots, the championship leader. Once again, consistently running in the points, but almost loses his car there, and this gives us the chance through that right-hander. Oh, of course, leave the space here. There are not many walls on that track, but outside of that corner, there is one, and it is looming to take someone out. But not with us, as we just moved past Dario Franchitti. Back to the fight for the top 3 again. Andretti still trying to find a way past Moore. And Gilles de Ferran is the first one to blink as he comes in for his pit stop just ahead of the halfway point of this race. And just a lap later, Michael Andretti follows suit. And let's see where he is exiting the pit lane. This is the exit here. Now he has to go through a hairpin here as well. And now he funnels into the turn 1 hairpin. Where is the Farron? I don't think he's ahead. Yeah, there is the Farron. So Andretti keeps his second spot for now. And then we were able to extend our stint. So we come into the pit lane just after the halfway point of this race. So let's hope for a good and quick pit stop, and let's see where we come out, because we were pretty much the last one in the top 10 to make the pit stop. Only Dario Franchitti is still staying out, but the other ones were all in the pit lane. This is Carpentier, who has just passed us. And ahead of us, this is Greg Moore. So Greg Moore, just a couple of car lengths ahead of us at the pit exit. That must have been a long pit stop, because he also extended his first stint. This is Andretti, and we come out ahead of Gilles de Ferran. Insane! So he moved up quite a lot, thanks to staying out longer. We're in third of those who have pitted. Oh, look at that battle ahead of us. Andretti, he's still just behind Greg Moore, and he's still trying his hardest to find a way past the Canadian. But for now, that has not worked. And we're now just behind the race leaders, or the virtual race leaders, of course, because Franchitti, by staying out, has now taken the lead of this race, but he will have to come in at some point. Might be interesting though, because we were benefiting a lot from staying out longer. So this is how we're running right now. We're in P5. Richie Hearn also running in second. He didn't stop yet either. But then we have Moore, Andretti, Rahal and de Ferran. This is what we're seeing here. Herter, Vasser, Arndt Meyer, he's also in the points, but without a stop. And so is Baron in 11th. But let's focus on what is going on ahead of us. We're fighting for the race win here. Lap 35 now, and everyone has made their pit stop. Franchitti came out in 5th, so we're now actually running in 3rd in the podium spots, and there is lapped cars ahead. This might get very, very interesting. PJ Jones is holding up Michael Andretti. This might be our chance towards turn 1, 3 wide through there. Whoa, Andretti almost runs into us there, but this is now our very, very good chance. We're side by side towards that right-hander there, and we should have the better line through that corner. We move past, I think that was Baron. And we are now up into P2, just behind Greg Moore, who is moving past more lapped cars ahead of us. This is Adrian Fernandez and Paul Tracy. What a weak race here by Fernandez today. Paul Tracy also kind of disappointing the entire season, as we just move past him and now follow Greg Moore for the lead. Couple of laps later, and we are very close to Greg Moore, and we are all on our own, so we have all the time and all the space available to try and take the race lead at our home race here. Bobby Rahal won the inaugural Cleveland Grand Prix here in the 80s. Can he win it here once again in 1998? We are very close and might now have a chance. Into turn 1, we move past a dive bomb here, late on the brakes, too late on the brakes as we run wide through the grass. And we drop down into P3 as Andretti is still there and moves past us as well now. Now let's look at the battle for the race lead that is now between Greg Moore and Michael Andretti. They are now lapping Michel Jourdain Jr. for a second time now. Oh, and they're 3 wide, running towards the final chicane, and I think Andretti might have the better line. They both stay behind the Mexican, but Andretti has moved past now. Michael Andretti has taken the lead of the Cleveland Grand Prix impressively with the help of some back markers. Now this is very, very interesting indeed, as we almost run into a Greg Moore there as well. And now some other interesting situation. Don't worry, this is not Greg Moore, but this is his teammate Patrick Carpentier. He was running in the points and yeah, was in for a good finish, but spinning out into the final chicane, hitting the wall there, losing his rear wing. That was his race done now. And we are still in that fight for the win. Greg Mill had to back down a little bit, as Andretti gained a couple of car lengths on the two of us. But let's see if we can move past Moore and hunt down Andretti. Oh, into that left-hander. Well, we haven't tried anything into there, but that worked against Moore. So we're now running in second. Greg is still there, so we need to take care. But now we finally move past him. And we're starting the final 2 laps of this race. Clear road ahead, no lap traffic, just Andretti and ourselves. This is how this race will be decided. It's a very, very short lap here, but now we're moving closer and closer. Now we're in the range where we might be able to try something. Not yet. This is where we tried or initiated a couple of moves. We're not close enough right now. Oh, and running a little wide through there even. So losing a bit of time once again. But a good exit out of here might set us up, if we get the final chicane done, for a move into turn 1. Question mark now. Is this a good exit? Oh, that bump caught us out a little bit, so Andretti moves away once again. So that is the final lap of the race now, and Andretti has now a massive advantage, because this is the best overtaking spot on the circuit. Oh, and we even mess up the exit out of there, as we're trying to get at least early on the throttle to try something into here, and I think now that has saved Andretti. He seems to be struggling with tire wear now, but we won't be able to make that up, I think. We can still try our best, but it's not gonna be enough. Michael Andretti is about to become the first 2-time race winner in this kart season. Yes, he is. We won't be able to do anything now anymore. Michael Andretti comes towards the final chicane to take his 2nd win of the season. Michael Andretti wins in Cleveland and retakes the championship lead. And let's, of course, as always, look at our point scorers. Today, Michael Andretti wins out of Bobby Rahal. We've seen that live. Greg Moore finishes 3rd. Then we have DeFerrin, Herta, Franchitti moves up to 6th. Jimmy Vasser, Scott Pruitt, Alex Zanardi, Riccio, and Christian Fittipaldi and Al Unser Jr. takes the final point here in Cleveland. On the right side, you can see the current championship standings. Michael Andretti, as we've already said, has retaken the lead. Dario Franchitti, though, is still sitting in 2nd with another consistent point finish here. Brian Herta 3rd, Gilles DeFerrin 4th. He also has had quite the strong and consistent season. Alex Zanardi moves down to 5th. Then we have Moore, Bobby Rahal, Scott Pruitt, Jimmy Vasser, Al Unser Jr., Andre Ribeiro, and Mark Blondell in 12th. And that has been it from Cleveland. What an exciting race we have seen here once again. Awesome battles. Not the cleanest of driving from myself, but still a very, very exciting race and a good result for us. The next race will be at Road America, so subscribe to not miss that. Leave a like if you did enjoy the video, and yeah, of course, I hope to see you all the next time. Until then, goodbye.